So as a bit of background about this is a topic that is very close to my heart. I've spent a long time researching it, mostly because I wanted to practically improve my own salah. And it took a long time to, first of all, explore, understand what others have said about it, what they have explained about it, and the theory about Salah, what it means, what it symbolizes, all of these things. But after that, I was still really looking for practical instruction, how to do it, because I had not really seen much in terms of practical instruction, how to actually achieve khushu', concentration, experiencing things. So that's why it took a long time, because I found very little on that side of things, and it took like 15 years to kind of crack it, at least for myself, and feel that I had able to achieve some progress. And that's what I will be sharing, inshallah. Overall, I think I read something like 5 or 6 books on the subject. I think I've pretty much read every major book that has been written about this topic. And so I've synthesized all of those together, and I'll be sharing that with you. So it will include some theory, some understanding, but also much more focus on the practical side of things, actual instruction. That's my goal here, and this is just one way to achieve what we're trying to achieve here in Salah. There are many different teachers, many different advice and instruction on what to do, how to do it, and so on. Many ways. I will just teach you what I have found, what I've explored, many different teachers have taught, and what I have found from implementing it, doing it myself, and seeing what works and what doesn't work. So this is something that is a personal journey. It requires everyone to put in their own time, effort, commitment to explore this for themselves and see what works for you. So hopefully this will just be an introduction that will help you to then explore your own journey in this wonderful practice that we have. Now, when we come into this type of a class, one thing I would say is that these sessions, it's not supposed to be a kind of academic exercise, trying to gather a lot of information. The idea is to actually allow this to sink into you and to be absorbed by you at a deeper level. So come to it with this type of attitude of trying to absorb what is being said with your heart, not just with the thinking mind. And then it really comes down to putting in the work yourself. So you will get out of this as much as you put into this. It requires that we actually start doing it. And because we will go through this each week, between each session, between each Sunday, there is a chance to actually start to put into practice what we have discussed here and what we have shared with each other, and build on it in this way. So this is something that I can share as something I learned the first time around. I just took in a lot of information, and then at the end, I said, okay, now let me do it. And it was almost like information overload. And I ended up doing none of it. At the beginning, I ended up doing none of it. It was just a nice, beautiful ideas, and I didn't do anything. So my advice is to take it part by part. It's a long journey. There's a lot of depth, richness that you can get out of it. But my advice is to do it step by step, piece by piece and cumulatively, we build towards a salah where you can have full concentration, full absorption throughout. That will take time to get there, but the secret to success is to do it piece by piece, step by step. Okay, so it's not what you call a spectator sport. You have to be actively involved, not just listening. It requires a practical commitment. Okay, but inshallah, you see that there's a lot to be gained from that, and we will all inshallah benefit from the what is available through all of this. Okay, now I do have some slides that I've put together as well to help us just have a more structured discussion, and so I will share some of those as we are going along. So let me just check. Can you I hope everyone can see my slides on the screen now, and you can see me as well, hopefully, on the screen. Can I confirm? Does everyone see the slide and see me at the same time? Yes. Okay, great. So, all right, yeah. So that's the basic idea. Now, in terms of the material, as Jassim laid out, we've broken it down into different sections. Okay, and you see those laid out here. So this is the structure of the course. Section 1 is all about the preparation. Okay, it's like a journey, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But just like a journey, you have to prepare at the beginning. It requires preparation, and in fact, it's this at the beginning when you're really exploring this. This is the part you will spend the most time on, actually. Okay, but after the preparation, we will go into the actual salah itself, which is broken into two parts. Okay, section 3 and section 4. Section 2 and section 3 is during the salah itself. Okay, so section 1, preparation before salah, and then sections 2 and 3 during salah, and then I'll have a summary at the end to bring it all together. Okay, so that's overall the way that we will proceed. And as I was saying, one interesting thing that I discovered was that really the success of a salah comes down to the preparation. So at the beginning, when you are almost like a beginner, even though we've all been doing salah for a long time, when you're doing it from a spiritual perspective and going deeper into it, at the beginning you'll find that I would say maybe 70% of what is needed to do it successfully comes before you even start the salah. Okay, so it's in all of the procedure, the process that we go through before we even start doing the salah. 70%, I would say, comes down to that. And then 30% is what you're doing during the salah itself. Okay, so that's how important this initial section is. The preparation for this journey it requires a big commitment and a lot of effort, because what most of us do is that we just jump into salah, right? So whatever we're doing, we just drop it. We say, okay, it's time to do salah, and we just jump into it. And then we wonder, why can't I maintain concentration? I'm not really getting much out of it. I'm just doing it. Or it comes and goes. Sometimes I feel something, sometimes I don't. And all of these type of questions. It comes because we have not laid the groundwork for the salah itself to have a strong foundation that you can grow into. Okay, so that's why this step is absolutely crucial, and where we will spend probably most of the time. There's, I think, a lot to be taken from this part. Okay. Now, with that said, this section has a lot of parts to it. So we will break it up into steps, to pieces, so that we can take each one and really go deep into it. And this is what I mean when I said that there will be a need to start to put this into practice every week that we work on something. Maybe we will do one of these topics or two of them, then take that as a chance to focus on that part and try to improve it, try to perfect it, that part of the salah, and build on it in that way. So what are we going to be covering in section 1? Let me briefly just lay out the individual parts, and then we can maybe start. We'll see how much we will cover today. My goal is not to go through all of these things as fast as we can. It's the other way around, actually. Inshallah, everyone has the patience and commitment that they want to go through. But if you do, then it's actually better to take these things patiently, step by step, because there's so much to be done. And in a way, we have a bit of a problem, which is that we are all doing salah every day, several times a day. And if we're just kind of doing it automatically, almost like mechanically, we've learned, at least I can talk about myself, we almost learned bad habits of how we're doing the salah. We're just kind of mechanically autopilot, just doing it in autopilot. So we have to undo some of those habits and learn deep new habits, better habits of how to do it in a better way. So I'm not going to force the pace. I don't know how much time it will take to cover each part, but inshallah, you see what I'm trying to achieve by giving each part enough time that it is absorbed and that we actually put it into practice. My goal is not to just give you information. Our goal here is to actually transform the way that we're doing salah and allow the salah itself to transform us, because that is what its purpose is. Okay. Now, we'll start by talking a little bit about the purpose. Why are we doing it in a spiritual way? And what it symbolizes, what is the meaning behind all of this, why we are doing it. So that's the first. We'll then familiarize with the overall journey, and I'll have a kind of a roadmap of where we are going and the depth of the journey that's ahead. And so we'll kind of get a brief overview of what that journey looks like, what the road map looks like, and then we'll go into each of the parts. And the first thing that we will look at is concentration and presence. Okay, now these are two different things. Okay, it's usually called حضور القلب in Arabic, and it has a lot of depth. I think we'll spend quite a lot of time here because there's a lot that I can share and that can really make a very big difference in terms of how you're able to achieve this حضور القلب and do it consistently every time. Not sometimes yes, sometimes no. How to do it consistently every time. So that's a very, very important topic, this one, and we'll spend quite a bit of time here. And then after that, everyone is familiar with the requirements of what we do before we start salah. So there's tahara and wudu, but we're going to look at these from a spiritual perspective, okay? Not physically how to do it, but that we all know how to do. The goal here will be to look at understanding what each part means and what is the inner practice. What is it that I should be doing internally when I do wudu or when I face the qibla? Okay, that's an actual step in this journey. It's a step, is facing the qibla. What do I do internally? Okay, physically I'm facing the qibla. but what do I do internally at the same time? Okay, and what does it symbolize? What's happening here? Same for the adhan. Adhan has a very important role. It's not required that you do the adhan, but you can see the benefits that come from it, which inshallah will encourage you to do the adhan every time that you do salah. And again, what should you do internally with everything that you say in the adhan? What does it mean? What is it that we're going to gain from that? Okay, then we do the actual niyyah, the intention. Okay, we establish that. Again, lots to be gained in terms of understanding internally what is happening in that stage and what to do with your heart. Okay, and then there's something I call standing at the door. Now, the salah itself is a journey, and we will be taking steps towards Allah. And there are stages along the way that we go through. And as we go through them, you arrive at different stations, different steps, different places. And so this is a step I call standing at the door. And there's a whole practice of what to do internally when you arrive there as well. So we will explore those. Okay, so this is a bit of an overview of the first section, all of the preparation that we will go through. And so beginning with the purpose and the symbolism, I will spend a little bit of time on this today, but I think there's a lot to cover. And so I will prefer to go more into that from next week. So I'll just kind of give an overview of this part now, and then we'll go into more detail for this part from next week. Okay, so when it comes to the purpose, we've heard many reasons why we do salah, why we've been told to do salah. All of these things are, of course, 100% correct. But at its core, and this links with a lot of the discussions that we've had in our group over the last few months, at its core, the purpose is happiness. Okay, it's your happiness. This is its ultimate purpose. Okay, now that's a big statement and a bit strange, maybe, but what do I mean by that, and how is it the case? So let me start from first principles. Okay, if you look at yourself in your day-to-day life, and if I ask you, are you happy? And I ask you also, are you happy all the time? Do you feel joy and happiness all the time through your whole life? I don't think many people will say yes. If you do say yes, that's fantastic. That's great. I think you should be teaching the course because I'm definitely not there myself. But most people will say, I'm happy a lot of the time, but there are times when I'm not happy, and I feel sadness, or I feel loneliness, or I feel anger, or whatever it is. It comes and goes. Life has ups and downs, and that's what's normal. So our ultimate goal, and this is the goal of the spiritual path, is to achieve permanent happiness, unbroken happiness. And the way that that is achieved is by understanding what is it that prevents you from being happy all the time. And the core of it comes down to a feeling of separation. Okay, separation. Meaning that you, in your day-to-day experience, you experience yourself as a limited, separate being from other things, right? There is me, this is I, and this is the world. And so I am a limited being in a huge world, and I'm separate from that world. I'm not in one oneness with the world. I am separate from the world. And also when it comes to Allah as the creator, obviously we know Allah is everywhere all the time, and we believe that, we have faith in that. But do you experience that? Every moment, do you experience that? And I would say most will say no. Unfortunately not. There are times I feel, but not most of the time. And so again, a sense of separation from world, separation from Allah also. You don't feel that he's here and now, right here and now. He's here. He's with you. But you don't feel it. And that's the cause of the unhappiness. That sense of being limited in space and time, and life being so short, is what causes you to feel unhappy. And even if you don't say it's unhappy, it's dissatisfied, What is this life? Most of it is so much ups and downs, and so little of it is happiness, right? So why is that the case? It's because you feel separate. You don't feel the connection. And so Salah's purpose is for you to experience that connection directly and reestablish that. Now remember, he's there all the time. He's here right now all the time. It's in your experience that you don't feel it. Okay? So the process of Salah is to reestablish that connection in your experience. And that means overcoming this sense of separation. Okay? And that's exactly what we will learn how to do, is to understand why is it that I feel this separation, what is the obstacle, and therefore how to overcome that. Okay? So that's one of the big reasons or purposes of Salah, is to achieve happiness through this connection with the infinite. Okay, with the infinite, with the perfect, full, perfect, infinite. If you feel a direct connection and experience the fact that not for a moment since you have been born have you actually been separate from him. It's impossible. It's impossible for you to actually, ontologically, meaning actual existence, for your existence to be separate from him is impossible. So it's not that he is actually separate from you. The separation is more to do with a lot of things within you that are preventing you from experiencing the fact that he is directly connected to you at all times. Okay, so that's what we will learn, and that is the purpose of the Salah, is for you to experience that connection with the infinite, because that will eliminate this sense of me as a limited being, as a separate being, on my own, alone in this world. So that's one core secret of how to achieve lasting happiness. Okay. Then the other things that we will talk about in terms of what is Salah and what its role is that it is a form of training. Okay. The reasons why we feel this separation, we will explain, we will go into those, but the purpose of Salah is to retrain us, okay, to overcome these obstacles that are the cause of the feeling of separation. Okay, so it's a type of training. It's a type of training. That's what Salah is. Okay, and then The other thing about it is that it is an act of devotion. Okay. And we'll go into this in more detail as well. But that devotion, that pure love, it's an expression of love and devotion, uh, are all ingredients. Okay. These are the tools that we use to dissolve all of these obstacles that are preventing us from feeling that connection. Okay. And that's what's amazing about Salah, is that even after you have reached the highest levels of perfection, even if you are Rasulullah, sallallahu, he says the most beautiful thing in this world is Salah. For him, there's nothing else that brings him happiness in this world more than Salah, right? And he doesn't stop doing Salah because he has reached some level. He continues to do it just like we do it. And the reason is because at that level, the Salah itself becomes an expression, right? It's like art. It's an expression of the level that he has reached and the perfection that he is experiencing, that connection that he's experiencing. And all of us are able to reach that level. All of us can reach that level. And so it then becomes not just training and connection and so on. It's also an expression of love, of knowing, of realization of the ultimate truth. Okay. So all of that is why Salah is called Mi'raj al-Mu'min, right? As-Salah, Mi'raj al-Mu'min. This Mi'raj is a spiritual journey that we go through to go from the state of separation, limitedness, towards the infinite and connection with the infinite perfection of Allah. Okay, that's what we mean by Mi'raj. And all of us are able to take that journey and to do that every day. Okay, so I try to make sure I stay on track with time as well and not throw too much in one go. So maybe I'll stop there and